Hello again. Now we're going to jump into learning about our Google Drive. You've all got a correct account. Many of you have personal Google accounts, so you are familiar with the general space here, place to store all of your documents, your files, your folders. It can become a bit of a disorganized mess. It can also be a bit of if you're not familiar with it, a little unusual to organize. So I just want to do a couple of quick things with you, and then I'm going to send you off to watch another video and leave you with a handout. And hopefully those things will get you started with using your Google Drive effectively. First, I want to talk about some settings. When you go up to the little gear icon, we're going to click there and click Settings. And I basically want you to look at three things. Convert uploads. This is an important one for you. If this is not checked, when you bring in a Microsoft Word document, it will stay in the Microsoft Word format. But if you open it to edit it, it's going to save a copy of it as a Google Doc. And suddenly you've got two copies of the same document, one being updated and one not. That's where you start to get confused and which one is the most current. I click this little box so that anytime I move anything into my Google Drive, it converts it into the Google Docs format. That way, I only have one document, and it's always the one I'm working on. The offline option to sync Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, and Drawings to your computer so you can edit them when you're offline. We'll talk about that later. Right now, I'm just going to leave that one, but you can certainly play with that if you want. Density. This is just choosing how much things are squeezed together on the screen back there, the files and the folders. I'm going for comfortable, but I could make it even more cozy, squeeze them a little bit more, or compact, which would really squeeze them tightly. I would suggest if you're on a laptop, you might want to go at least to cozy, maybe compact. On a desktop, I'm totally fine with comfortable. And this last checkbox, suggestions. Do you want to make relevant files handy when you need them via quick access? I've got it turned on. You may or may not want it turned on. Here's what that does. That's this top row here of 5 files: professional development, summary, iPad master list, etc. Most people look at that and think, oh, those are the last 5 files I worked on. But they're not. They are files that you edited recently, or as you can see under photo permissions, at some point. But it just means that you've used that file a lot. So because you've made some edits and because you open it often, Google offers it as a quick access file because it thinks that's a file you look at pretty regularly. So it is sort of a combination of things you've recently edited, but also things you use a lot, as well as, notice under Google Notes over here, it says Nancy Krosick edited this week. That's a file that I've shared with Nancy. It's popping up there to notify me that that file's been edited, so I might want to go check out the changes. So quick access is what Google thinks you might be looking for when you get here, not your most recent documents. So for some people, they like that. For some people, it's a bit confusing, and they want to turn that off. As we go down the left-hand side over here, you can see that My Drive is selected. These others are easy to use, shared with me. These are things that have been shared with you. In some cases, there may not be much there, but as time goes on, you will get more and more things, more and more PowerPoints, more and more documents. A lot of these come from going to a conference, and keynote speakers often give you a link to a copy of their presentation. I go there, I bring a copy to my computer. That's what's been shared with me. These are a lot of online trainings and that sort of thing. So they can all be in there. They're easy to find. Recent? Now that really is your most recently worked on files. The things I worked on today, the things I worked on earlier this week. As I scroll back farther, it'll be earlier this month, then earlier this year. So this really does organize it in the way that you were thinking maybe earlier with that quick access feature. Starred items. Starred items are things that I know I have to get to all the time, several times a week, or a project that I'm currently working on. So when I'm in my drive and open any document, let's say I'm going to open this document from Nancy. While that document is open, right up next to the title where it says Google Notes, right beside it, you can see there's a star. You can turn it on and off. So any document that you're working on that you want quick access to while you're doing a project, keep that star turned on. You can do the same thing even when the document is closed by right-clicking on it and removing a star or adding a star. You can do the same thing with a folder. You can always add a star or remove a star so that a whole folder shows up there or just a document. I try to keep that down to, it looks like about 15 things or so there. A couple of folders that I share with people here at work that I access all the time. That is my fastest, quickest access to the files that I use all the time. And lastly is trash. When you throw something away in Google Docs, it hardly ever goes away. I don't know what Google's rule is for saving files, but I can tell you that it has saved files for me well back into 2017, probably for almost as long as Krek has been giving me this account. I can just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and things that I've thrown away, finally I get back there to the end. There are a lot of things that I've thrown away. Google saves them all, folders and files. All right, back into my drive. A couple of other things that you can note. Up in the right-hand corner, there are 3 lines and 3 dots. That's telling me I can change this view to a list view. Now I'm seeing everything as a list. This works well for laptops, and for some people it's just a good organizational strategy. I prefer the grid view when I'm on my desktop because seeing the thumbnail of the article or the item for me is a bit of a prompt about what it is. I scan really quickly and can pick out from the colors what it is that I'm looking for. But some people would much rather have the list view. Doesn't matter whether you're looking at list view or grid view. Google will always organize your folders first and then your freestanding documents. So either way, folders are going at the top. You can also change over here on the side. Are you organizing in alphabetical order or reverse alphabetical order? As a grid view, that's not making a whole lot of difference, but in list view, that could certainly make a difference. I can flip here on the name and reverse the order and bring things in reverse alphabetical order. The other option is to come over and look at last modified, which is sort of like your recents, but it just organizes everything really quickly, the last things that I've modified here. But still, folders are on top and then documents. All right, I wanted you to be familiar with those items, just sort of how to adjust your view, how to do a few settings. Now, I'm going to send you off to watch to watch one video, and that video will be about some hacks for using Google Drive more effectively, naming things, etc. And then there will be a handout specifically about some organizational stuff here because it's so easy to drag files into Google Drive. You can quickly become overwhelmed just with a long, never-ending list of files. And so there are better ways to sort of organize that. I will prompt you that at some point these items will talk about your team folder. That is something not available to you in your personal Google account. It is available in organizational accounts for businesses and schools. However, Krek has not activated the team folder feature. We have requested it, and so far they have decided not to do that. If they change that, I'll let you know. All right, start putting things into your Google Drive. Why? Not because your computer is a bad thing or a bad place to put items, but once it's in your Google Drive, it's available to you anywhere. If that laptop you're holding crashes, all of your documents are still safe. You can walk to any other computer in the world and access your documents, and all of your documents are being backed up and safely by Google over and over and over. Every change is happening. You don't have to worry about it. Whereas if it's on your computer and you haven't backed it up when the computer crashes, you've lost all your work. So I'm not saying every document has to go into Google Drive. I certainly save things on my desktop, but I would say the majority of the work that I've done in the last year has been right here in my Google Drive. All right, take care. Talk to you soon.